Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Atomic Moon, and if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe. Helps me out, helps you out. I'm helping you out, so help me out. You know what I'm talking about? Today I am starting a new series on the Line6 Helix Native. It was on sale earlier this summer. I've been kind of doing a bunch of videos over software that was on sale during the pandemic. And yeah, they had like a 40% off or something on Helix Native, and I went ahead and bought it, and I've been messing around with it for the last several months, and I've been wanting to do a film series or a tutorial series specifically about Line6 Helix Native. I'm not exactly sure how long this series is going to go. This could possibly be an ongoing series, but at the very least I want to have a foundation of some of the basics on this particular product. Starting first with just getting it registered and getting it actually installed on your DAW, because for some reason I was having a lot of trouble with that, so I figured that'd be a good spot for me to start. For those of you that don't know the history of Line6, not that I'm incredibly well versed with Line6, but Line6 is primarily a cost-effective, we're not going to say cheap, but it's a cost-effective digital emulation kind of company. Like, that's what they specialize in, is making digital replicas of other amp manufacturers. Marshall, Mesa Boogie, Fender. They specialize in making a one kind of package deal that has all these different amp companies in this one affordable package. I know probably a lot of you that started out on guitar, might have had like the Spider as one of your first guitar amps. One thing that Line6 did back in the 90s is they came out with their Pod series, and the Pod series really kind of revolutionized the digital era for guitars. And it became a staple in the studio, it became a staple for touring musicians, and made it a lot easier for people to be able to travel around and have their amp and everything ready to go in this one compact little package. And for the longest time, that was pretty much the standard for amp emulation, until recently, in the last 10 years or so, Axe Effects started coming out, and Kemper, and it was more like high-end type amp modeling, compared to the Pod and compared to some of the Line6 Floor Pod series and all that. That's like pretty reasonably priced. Kemper and Axe Effects come out, and all of a sudden it's like this much more expensive hardware unit, but audio-wise is much higher quality. And so this, once again, kind of has revolutionized guitar just over the last 10 years or so. And as a response to that, Line6 has come out with their Helix series, which is a step above, a considerable step above their Pod series, but still much more reasonably priced than the alternatives of Axe Effects and Kemper. The floor versions of Helix, the one that actually has all the stomp box and everything, the actual foot controller, is still pretty, it's in a pretty good price range, compared to actually going out and buying all the effects and all the amps and everything. It's way less than that, and it is way less than Axe Effects and Kemper, but it's still pretty pricey, and it was at least pricey enough to make me not really want to go out and buy one. However, like I said before, over the summer they had Helix on sale, and I went ahead and got it as I was looking to kind of go in a new direction with my amp software. So previously I've been using Guitar Rig 5, I think, or maybe 4, I don't know. I was kind of needing a facelift on my guitar software and for my recordings and everything, so I thought for the price point of Helix Native, it was a really good and solid investment. The thing about Helix Native is it's obviously software only. It's a plugin that works inside of your DAW. There's not actually a standalone version for it yet that you can actually open up straight off of your desktop. You actually have to open it inside of your DAW. So, for guitar players that don't really do a lot of recording, that could potentially be a problem for them, just knowing the process of installing a VST and actually getting some software and things like that. So this is kind of where I want to start with this series, is just showing how to actually get it up and going, get it registered, and get it installed on your device. and I'm going to be using actually a new software from Traction. Traction has offered some free DAWs. Traction 5, 6, and 7. My latest one that I was using was Traction 7, but they've actually gotten a completely different. They've got a brand new interface or whatever, a new software, and I just downloaded it, but it looks pretty much exactly like Traction 7. But I'm going to show this to you guys. It's going to be a free DAW, so if you don't currently have a DAW on your computer, or if the only free DAW that you have might be like Audacity or something like that, you can't run VSTs in Audacity. So you would need something, different from that. But I think this new software from Traction is a great is a great place to start. And there's also Cakewalk. Cakewalk is free from Sonar, I believe, is the manufacturing company. But there are some free DAW options out there if you currently don't have a DAW to open this software up on. Because with this being a VST and software only, it's a lot cheaper than having the actual hardware. And this is primarily what I'm going to be using it for anyway. I'm primarily going to be using it inside of a DAW, so I don't really see the benefit of actually having an external hardware unit. However, the entire software is basically designed to be used with the preamps that come inside the hardware unit. So one of the recommendations that I would say is, if you're using this VST of Helix, then you're going to want to make sure to have as good of a preamp being where you're plugging your guitar physically into your computer. You're going to want to have as good as preamps as you can. I have an external Daking Mic Pre 1 that I use as my main preamp. I also have a Focusrite 18920 Scarlett interface. So yeah, that's something to consider if you're considering going this direction, is, well, how good of a preamp do you have that you're going to be plugging your guitar into? Because that's really going to affect the overall tone of everything that's going to go on. So what I'm going to do is, I have this free DAW installed on my laptop, so I'm going to hop over to the laptop and install Helix Native on there. I believe there's up to 3 devices that you can have it installed on, which is pretty nice. If I want to have this installed on my home studio computer, but then also have it on my laptop that I can, take somewhere else, possibly in a live situation. I haven't used it in a live situation yet, but it's definitely something to consider for the future. So without further ado, this introduction is over. I'm going to switch over to my laptop, and we're going to get this bad boy installed. Okay, so first things first, what you're going to want to do is go to line6.com/account, and this is assuming that you've bought the software and are trying to install it. There's different places you can actually buy the software. I think you can order on Sweetwater or directly from Line6, or really any sort of music retailer, but I personally bought it directly from Line6. So once you have it bought, you should get some sort of a confirmation code with some sort of registration information. But the first thing you're going to want to do is to actually go download the software. So you're going to go to line6.com/account and then sign in your information. So here I go. I'm going to type in my email and username, or whatever it is. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, I'm going to go to the download tab up here, and I'm just going to search for Line6 Helix Native. So I'm going to go to software and go right here, and for some reason the website is skitzing out, but you know what, that's fine. Okay, here it is, Helix Native, get download. There actually is a free trial for Helix, so if you do want to try the software out, there's a 2-week free trial, and I totally think that would be worth checking out if you're kind of on the fence about whether or not you want to get the software. So I'm going to accept and download, and so now the actual installer is downloading, and we are well on our way to getting this bad boy installed. Going right here to the setup, it's pretty standard stuff, but one thing I wanted to go over is this little installation folder right here. Basically you're given three options: VST2, VST3, and AAX. So AAX is a specific, stands for Avid Audio Extensions. That's specific for Pro Tools. We're not going to be using Pro Tools, and I don't own Pro Tools, so typically if I'm ever given the option of installing an AAX file, I just don't do it because it's specific to Pro Tools. But we are going to want, since we're installing this as a VST, you're going to want the VST2 and the VST3. I don't know, I'm just going to install the VST2 and VST3. And I have to look for my plugin folder. So you're going to want to find out exactly where the plugin folder is for your specific DAW. If you're going to do the waveform software like I'm showing in this video, then it's going to be pretty easy to find where the plugin folder is. For now, I'm going to create just a folder for this plugin and then direct my plugin folder there later. Okay, so for now, my destination for it's going to be C drive, program files, VST plugins, and that's going to be pretty easy for me to find later. So now I'm just going to click next. It's going to prompt me. Okay, it's not going to prompt me to ask where my VST3 install folder is because that's going to be under common files, and basically that's just going to be in a location that's already basically within the system. So yeah. So basically I just have a directory for my VST2 plugin, and I'm going to have to put that path in my DAW, but I'll show you how to do that. So right now, VST Helix Native, the Helix Native VST2 plugins will be installed to program files VST plugins. And now it's installing, and we're done. Okay, so now I'm in waveform, and it's actually, you can't see the window, but it's actually alerting me that a new plugin was found. So that's good. I didn't actually have to put it in the directory or anything. So I'm just going to click Scan Now. And basically the software, the DAW automatically scans for new plugins and stuff, so it makes it pretty easy, especially if you're kind of new to this, and getting a VST plugin installed is kind of a new thing for you. Then it's easy if the software is actually prompting you, saying like, "Hey, we found a new plugin. Do you want us to install it or whatever?" So it should be on here. So right now I'm going to go and just open a new project. So I'm going to click New Project. Just name, I'm just going to do today's date, which is 10/06/20. I don't need all these tracks, so I'm going to go ahead just for whatever's sake and get rid of all these tracks that I'm not going to need. I'm only going to need the one track. So I'm just going to search right here, Helix Native, bam, it's under plugins. And I'm going to drag and drop that over here. And this is going to do the first launch for the plugin, so it might take just a second for it to kind of pop up. The software is pretty heavy on resources, so I would recommend at least having kind of a decent machine to be able to run this. I did just recently do some upgrades to this laptop, and I'm hoping to be able to run it on here, but I'm not just like putting all my eggs in one basket that I'm going to be able to run it on this laptop. Okay, so now the actual Helix Native VST has launched, and it is prompting me to sign in with my username and my Line6 password so that I can authorize my computer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And bam, there it is. I remember having some trouble installing this on my PC. I don't really know what it was, but I was having, I think it was an issue with Cubase that I wasn't able to actually get it signed in. So I actually had to install it on a different DAW and then have it on there. So I don't know, it was kind of a big mess. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Now it's installing all of the factory presets, and here's the thing about the factory presets is that when I first got the DAW and I was going through the presets really do not blow me away. And in fact, as I was going through them, I was just thinking to myself, like, what have I gotten myself into? You know, I don't know why that's the case, but really, to get the most out of the software, you really got to kind of dig into it and kind of build it yourself rather than just going through the presets. Because if you go through the presets, you're really not going to think that this software is anything special. But when you start really digging into it, there's some really cool features on here. And yeah, as you can tell right here, my processor is about 60% just from this one plugin. And granted, I am using OBS and screen capping, but you know, this really is a pretty hefty plugin that's going to suck a lot of resources. Even on my PC that has, you know, a lot better specs than this laptop, I really can only have like a couple of instances of it open without my processor just completely, you know, bailing on me. But that's kind of where freezing and bouncing to audio and things like that can come in handy. So I'm just saying this plugin is a real like resource hog. So just kind of keep that in mind. Whereas the hardware version, all the processing is going to be done externally, and it's not going to be, you know, a big issue with your processor. And with that, that's going to conclude this introduction video and installation process video for Line6 Helix Native. I'm planning on doing a bunch of videos in this series, so please, if you're interested in this, please subscribe. And be on the lookout for other videos. Comment, give me your thoughts. If you're having issues installing or any sort of issues at all, I'd be glad to try to help you out in any way that I can. But with that, I'm Atomic Moon. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys later.